Good evening, and welcome to something that we kinda never thought would happen a year ago. Welcome to the Skyward Sword Any Percent tournament. Welcome to round one of a tournament that now actually seems legit and super possible due to Skyward Sword being a quick, fast, and really interesting speed game that's not brain killing every single runner just because it's so long and would kill them in a tournament. Welcome to Skyward Sword and welcome to reverse bit magic all over the place. Let's mute the music, and without further ado, let's say hi to the comms. Let's dive in. Hey, Floha. Hey, Kid Cop.
Right.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome to the very first match of the Skyward Sword Any Percent tournament. I hope that you're actually as hyped as we are, because this has been planned for quite a long time, and we're happy to finally have this going. So yeah, I hope you're in for a ride. So while we're waiting here for the race to start, there are a few things we could say up front. Mainly that is that we are running on a hero mode file. This is mainly due to the fact that we can skip cutscenes, which is way too important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you couldn't have that in, you'd be watching cutscenes for 2 hours. So it's really cool how we can do that. Yeah.
All right, I actually see the countdown has started for the race, so
yep,
let's give it up. All right, as you can see, just like I said, you can skip cutscenes, which is really great because we'd be sitting here for quite a long time if we could do that.
Yeah, it's like the first 20 seconds of speedrun, just skipping cutscenes.
Yeah. Very important in this run. Movement is a very important part of this run, as although we can skip a lot of this game, there is still quite a bunch that we cannot skip. This is something important to remember because movement is fast. Also, you just see the first route difference between Indy and Phio here. While Phio was talking to Fletch here, which will be useful for later on for some bit shenanigans, Indy did not talk to him because Indy told us that he's gonna do a whole different route. We're not exactly quite sure what to expect from Indy, but he probably is gonna do something like Cistern Second, so that's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, and I think Phio is doing the quickest current known route. It's where you do the 7x04 bit at the end of the game, so that therefore you can just it's basically quicker. I don't know.
Yeah. Another difference you see here is that Phio is playing on Japanese text while Indy is playing on English text. This is due to the fact that Japanese is faster in the current any percent run by about 8 to 9 minutes, we expect. We didn't really time it, but we think that it's about 8 to 9 minutes. We were actually thinking at the start of the tournament if we should have some kind of handicap for Japanese runners to make it fair, but in the end we didn't get to make something like this handicap, so now we just gotta deal with it. The English runners have a disadvantage, if we want to say so, by 8 to 9. Yes, this the game is very broken. In the beginning, it is not so much broken, but you will see soon, within the next 1 to 2 hours, that the game is very much broken, as we can give almost 2 hours of the the previous any percent route from like a year ago. Also, as you can see on Indy's end right there, he just died. That is very useful because he's gonna be activating Back in Time. Back in Time is activated by continuing on the game over screen, but at the same time you're gonna reset your console, which quote unquote confuses the game. I know some people don't like this word, the term, but this actually allows us to skip a whole bunch. And what you actually can see here on Indy's end is that he is creating a corrupt file. Corrupt file means basically that all values in this file are set to 0, including your health. And this is an important fact, that your health is 0, because we want to die fast to activate Back in Time a bit faster again.
Yeah, so as you see in the kind of quicker route, Phio is picking up the practice sword. In the safe route, or route I should say, you'd usually do an RBM into it. And also I will just comment on the fact that Phio will be attempting the cutscene skip. If you can do it, it saves about 20 seconds over the safe route, but if you miss it, it takes 4 minutes, so we'll see if that risk pays off in just about 4 minutes.
I think he actually wanted to do something safer than that, but I'm not exactly sure what exactly.
Yeah, I did notice that he was like kind of saving at the statue, so it's not. I don't think it's gonna be the full 4 minutes if he loses it, but yeah, it's interesting. As you see, that's
so Indy actually just RBM'd. RBM is short for reverse bit magic, which means we can apply, or rather to be exact, flags from Back in Time, like flags in the memory of the game. We can apply these flags from Back in Time to our game file. So that is why Indy now has the Goddess's Sword. Because what exactly he did is he applied the flag that he got the Goddess Sword on his file while pulling the Goddess Sword out and starting the file at the same time, basically. Then he needed something to reload the area, which he used the cutscene for, and that is why he now has the Goddess Sword.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw, but on Phio's end, he ended up taking 2 hearts of damage. This is going to be important because straight after the cutscene skip, if it's successful, he will go into Back in Time. So basically, just make sure that you're down to 2 hearts, and the best way of doing that is in the cave.
Yeah, here you can see again the difference between English and Japanese text. While both of them entered the cutscene at around the same time, not quite the same time, but around the same time, you see that Indy took a while longer in the cutscene than Phio did, which is a great example of how language actually affect the game.
Yeah.
Oh, and Indy just is out of stamina there.
Yeah, those ropes are a lot harder than people think.
Pretty unfortunate, because he just has to wait there till the stamina is refilled again. That is something you, of course, want to avoid. Also, I hope you like this tutorial, because this is something I don't want to spoil anything here. But this is something you kind of see again.
Yeah, we'll be going here a lot, actually. Like, a lot, I guess, in Back in Time, because this is very useful to get to Farron Back in Time.
So yeah, the tutorial on itself is basically just a kind of auto-scroller with some kind of tricks you need to know to fasten it.
Okay, here we go. Phio is doing the cutscene skip.
Let's see if he gets it. No, he's not doing it.
Actually,
he
yeah.
saves and quits. That is actually interesting. Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, he does not. He only saves. He only saves. Did not get it.
Yeah, he saves and then, yeah.
Unfortunate. But he actually got the other file, where he now needs to kill himself on that file. Just kind of slow. Because he needs to jump down the cliff 3 times.
He did save the upper academy.
Saved at the
statue,
upper
which-
academy.
yeah.
Okay, that is interesting.
Yeah, because Phio has now failed that, Indy was probably going to have not a huge lead, but he's going to have a relatively huge lead. Not relatively huge, but he's going to have a lead over Phio now. That
He's gonna have a lead, yeah, and that's probably good for him because that's how he can take advantage again of his slower version with the English text. Also, as you could just see on Indy's stream, he actually saved and quitted at the wing ceremony and chose the corrupt file, which allowed him to die in an instant, which of course is good, so that he can activate back in time again. And now he is gonna RBM the practice sword on his file. Now you might ask, he does already have the goddess sword. Why does he want to RBM the practice sword on his file? That is because the practice sword is gonna be very useful later on, or rather, not the practice sword as the item, but what is actually useful is the flag of obtaining the practice sword, which is gonna be useful for a later back in time.
Yes, I will just mention that specific RBM is quite precise. Like if you misclick on a file, you can easily crash the game. But I think Indy got that quite nice. And I guess because Phio didn't have to do that, he is now ahead because he didn't have to do that RBM. He just had to go inside the goddess swords.
Well, he's not really ahead. Actually, Indy is ahead. Because Indy is... Indy is gonna put in the Emerald tablet there. Phio still has to go through all the cutscenes.
Yeah, so here Indy is now basically placing down one of 3 tablets. This is going to be the Farron tablet, and yeah, this first pretty much hour is going to be like no sequence breaks. It's going to be pretty similar to how you'd play. I say similar to how you'd play the game normally. There will be some skips. I think we skip a huge significant part of Skyview, but for the most part, it's going to be very similar to kind of the casual route.
Yeah, I like to call this. Although the first 10 minutes are kind of crazy, the next 20 minutes are actually like no major skips at all or anything. They're just gonna be like some fast casual playthrough. This is what I like. This is what I like to call the first cycle of Skyward Sword.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess in a normal casual playthrough, the game is pretty much set up into 3 cycles. There's a train outside my house. The first cycle is basically where you chase after Zelda, and that is we are going to do pretty much to the exact, with maybe the skipping a few quests along the way. Like for example, opening the Earth Temple, we will pretty much just skip that with a reverse bit magic. Then the second cycle is where we have to upgrade our sword. We will sort of do that. We will skip one part of that, but we'll completely do a sequence break of that, which you'll see later. And the third cycle is where we have to go to all 3 areas again, and we will completely skip that, so you won't see any of that. We see that Phio is getting the shield. This is actually slower to get the shield. It used to not be slower, but now because you don't do as many fights, It is slow to get the shield, but it's nice for safety.
Yeah. Usually want to, depending on the runner, you want to get a shield or not. The only fights where the shield is actually used is a stealth boss fight, like coming up in about 20 minutes, and then only next time you want to use this shield is for the final boss fight, the demise fight.
And also Go Him 3 fight, I will mention, because it's way easier.
Oh yeah, of course.
With the,
That as well.
Yeah. Like, shieldless Go Him 3 is pretty much a nightmare. You will see these runners dive off their loft wings. This is to skip Phi, because she's really annoying and she just interrupts us constantly. So we try to skip her as many times as possible. And right now, coming into Farron, we have Indy, who's got a small lead over Phio, but this game is really unpredictable. This might change, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So Indy is using some.
This you usually want to avoid these Deku Barbers because we don't have a sailcloth. We don't have a sailcloth right now. And this means we gotta take the damage by falling down here. And there is a way to not take the damage. Indy is going around the hill though. There is a side strat where you can just jump down and not take any damage.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be going for that. Because he took some damages at the Deku Barbers, he can't just jump down, so I think he's going to lose some time.
Actually, it is faster just killing yourself here and jumping down again with 6 hearts than just running down the whole slope.
No, but Phio got the side up strat, which is
yeah,
it was cool. So now both runners are pretty much, they're not on the same frame, but they're pretty much on the same second, so they are pretty close. Yeah, so here there is a mechanic known as dowsing, which speedrunners don't use because we basically know everything else. Dowsing got a lot of mixed opinions, which is, in my opinion, is not very good, but you don't really have to use it. But the thing is here that Fire explains to you what dowsing is, even though she gives you an option to say no. Even if you say no, she just gives you a short explanation, which isn't really... It's shorter, but it's not great.
Here was another example, by the way, of English versus Japanese text. While Phio entered the cutscene later than Indy, Phio finished the cutscene earlier than Indy did. This is just, yeah. I think this will basically be the last time or so. It will probably not be the last time where I say it's here you can see a huge difference between English and Japanese text, because it is rare for us to have a match, to have a 1 versus 1 race between a Japanese runner and an English runner.
Yeah, but I think if you see in the tournament bracket, a lot of the first races are against the Japanese versus English, so over the course of the next month we will kind of be comparing that quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think if Indy wins this, and I think if Indy and you win your first match, it'll be a guaranteed Japanese versus English as well, so that's cool.
Oh boy. You mean if I lose against you, I gotta go against Indy?
No, I mean like
if loses this match now.
No, if like Hugo loses, then as we both run on Japanese and Indy runs on English, if Indy wins this, then the next hold up, I think round 3 will be.
Brackets are confusing.
They are very confusing.
Oh yeah, also here is the hardest trick of the game, placing this
so hard.
Oh boy, and Indy is using the scrub strats. Indy is using the zoom drop strats.
Yeah, that's yeah, this old lady's really picky with where you put your beacon. Like, you can be like just a few inches off, and she's like, no, you gotta do it again. And it just keeps going until you get it right, and it's very difficult to do quickly. Very difficult.
Yeah. And we just leave this beacon here for the end of the run, because nobody bothers about this beacon at all.
Yeah, there's like no point in removing it, so as we come across this area again, you'll see it again.
On Fire's End, you could just see another advantage of running in hero mode. That is the upgraded Skyward Strike, which is way more powerful than a normal Sword Strike. The upgraded Skyward Strike allows us to instant kill all the goblins here, and a lot of the enemies in like the first area, which is really useful because we don't want to bother about these goblins with like 3 sword strikes or so. If we can just insta kill them like with 1 Skyward Strike, that's like way better. Also, another advantage I didn't even talk about yet of hero mode is that we actually take double damage with because we need to die often to activate back in time is just faster.
Yeah, but also the thing with double damage is that it's way easier to lose health, so it can be a double-edged sword, but it's like, if you're a good enough runner, that doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, it can be a bit tricky when you start the game, and you might actually not want to lose too much health. If you're used to it, then it's pretty, you pretty much always want to be on low health, so that you can die easily to activate back in time more quickly.
Alright, so again, Phio showing another example of the upgraded Skyward Strike. He just completely obliterated 2 goblins. And now you see Phio has found Kikwi's. Now I think for the next at least like 10-15 minutes we'll just be going around the Farron Woods just finding them, so not really too exciting. This is probably, in my opinion, the most boring part of the run. But
Indy going out of stamina again. What is up with Indy's stamina, man?
I don't know, he doesn't seem to be very good at it at this point, I'll just say. And again, he's completely... Again, that just goes to show how easy it is to use that upgraded Skyward Strike, because both of them made it
I would
without
say he's
an issue.
seen him. We hunt right here. This is the part where we need to optimize of movement, and I think this is a perfect time to talk a little bit about the movement.
Yeah, because nothing else is happening.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Usually you see the runners, for short tracks, they're like rolling, but for if they need to cover longer distances, then they actually just run, and they wanna stop like shortly before they run out of stamina, and then they wanna wait until the stamina has refilled like to 1/4, because this last quarter depletes only half as fast as the other 3/4. But it refills as fast as the other 3/4. So to optimize the movement, we usually just want on this quarter of the stamina bar.
Yeah, so again, there isn't really much to say in this segment, so if anyone has any questions, now would probably be the best time to answer for us to answer them. Just again, because how little actually happens in this segment other than us just running around Farron.
What is Phio doing with that?
He seems to be getting a fairy, but that's
why
not
does
really.
Why does he want to get a fairy? Is he scared of dying?
I'm assuming it's safety, but that's going to be really hard to deal
That's
with.
gonna
because
cost him a bit of time later.
In about 10 or 15 minutes, he's going to have to get back down to 2 hearts, otherwise that dying to that Keys is going to take a really long time.
I was really interested.
So again, here's another example of the overpowered Skyward Strike, just obliterated at least 5 there. I never really counted how many there are. There's a lot of them there.
I actually didn't even know there was a fairy in there.
Yeah.
Good to know there's a fairy in there.
It's amazing how much you miss as a speedrunner. Like, you just don't focus on things like people's names in this game. You just don't know, essentially, unless you look at them. But yeah.
You could be scared of Phio, but
I mean, Keyboard can be a
usually
quite.
you don't die doing Phio.
I'll be honest. I've died at
Unless
Keyboard
you're
a couple
really
times.
unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, I've died at Keyboard a couple times, and it's not impossible, but it's quite unlikely. I haven't. It only ever happens to be like a handful of times. So again.
Yeah.
Oh no, loops a roll. Yeah, that's a 1-frame roll where you can save 5 seconds if you get it, but again, it's 1 frame and there's no visual or audio cues. So going for it is no one ever goes for it. I don't go for it. We see Indy went for it, but he didn't quite make it, and he's kind of spoiling things in the chat.
Yeah. Another thing about this upgraded Skyward Strike is why the Skyward Strike is so powerful. Our sword is not powerful at all, which means that if we hit enemies with our sword instead of the Skyward Strike, then they will only take the sword damage and not the damage from the upgraded Skyward Strike. So that's why we usually want to avoid hitting the enemies with directly with our sword. So that's why we usually take some distance between the enemies and our sword, so that they're only hit by the Skyward Strike.
Yeah. One thing I will mention is that about a minute ago, you saw Phio cutting down some grasses in a very specific way, so the Kikwi doesn't move. You'll see it in you'll see Indy do it in a minute, but I thought I'd just mention that.
Yeah, that is because the Kikwi for the grass, it's really easier to explain once you see it on the screen. The Kikwi in the grass usually wants to hide until all the grass is cut. So if you cut the grass around him, he moves where there is another patch of grass. So we first want to remove the grass which is not around the Kikwi, and then we want to remove the grass around the Kikwi, so the Kikwi has nowhere to hide and doesn't move anymore, because the Kikwi moves really, really slowly. That is what we want to avoid with that. So that he does not. And even if you cut the grass while he is in the animation of moving, he does not stop until he reached his destination, and then realizes, oh wait, there is no other grass anymore. We stop here.
Yeah. So Indy not pushing down the log. He seems to be doing a very interesting route that no one's seen. So I don't really know what will happen with him, but. Yeah. Also, here's a fun fact that you probably didn't know. All of the Kikwis are named after tea. I don't exactly know all their names because I often run in Japanese, but they are all named after tea, which is an interesting fact. So anyway, the whole point of this Kikwi running around stuff is to get the slingshot, and the only reason, there are a couple of reasons why we need to get a slingshot, but kind of the main reason is so that we can access all our other items, because a slingshot is usually the first main item you're meant to get.
This actually unlocks the item wheel. The slingshot in itself is not that of an important item, but the fact that the slingshot is unlocking the item wheel is way more important. We could easily skip the slingshot, but then we would need to unlock the item wheel in another way, and unlocking the item wheel in that other way is just way too slow. So we just get the slingshot normally.
Okay, so here, I don't know if any of the runners are going to attempt it. I'm pretty sure Fire's going to attempt it. Don't know about Indy, but this is going to be extending blow. Now, this trick is very RNG, because it really matters which way the bokoblins fall, and that can be quite RNG. Because they can fall in, I think, one of 4 ways, and only one of them actually is beneficial to it. And how it works is that basically Link has to get in a position where he's able to do he has to be in a position to do a fatal blow on a bokoblin that is off the map.
Looked a bit iffy, that setup. The bokoblins seem to move already.
Yeah, he did seem to move. And what that should do is it should put Link's coordinates to 0-0 instead of where the bokoblin is. And most places that doesn't really matter, but in Deep Woods, that happens to be right outside of Skyward Temple. Unfortunately, Phio didn't hit it. I'm going to assume that was because the bokoblin moved. So just if you're aware of practicing that, make sure he doesn't do that. But that's fine, because now we can see Q Warp, which because of the really powerful Skyward Strike, the Skyward Strike is also extended like a lot, so it goes way further, and so therefore you're able to hit this cube with this bokoblin. Phio having some trouble with it. He's on this kind of last attempt. He doesn't get it.
Oh damn! Now he's gonna do the walk of shame.
This is essentially the walk of shame. Unless if you're doing 100%, you never go here. Like, unless if you've messed things up like this.
Yeah.
Like, this is if you mess up both extending blow and cube warp. Cube warp is usually not too difficult, but he did seem to have some trouble with it.
Yeah. You usually want to avoid this. So let's see if Indy is gonna go for extended blow. Flash if he is getting cube wall. Okay, he does not seem to go for extending. Oh, actually, never mind. He is going for extending.
He might not hit it.
Let's see how it works out for. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
never mind.
It is very yeah. You have to get the bokoblin in a very specific way, and you have to attack it in a very specific way for it to just land in the right position, and then maybe it might. I believe Fire will go for the another Fire tech skip. This one's a little bit precise, but Fire gets it.
Oh, they actually got it. Nice.
Yeah, that was very low to the ground before his jump slash, but yeah, we'll see. Now again, Indy.
Okay, you on Indy's screen you can now see Q warp. What exactly we meant.
Yeah.
So while he was just standing like down on the lower half of the goddess cube, like now he actually is right next to where the goddess cube was. This just him. Okay, Indy is not good for the fire text, which saves more time on English.
Yeah, okay.
Because
So
Phi talks more on English.
So now we're going to enter Skyview, which is exactly what Fire has done. He has also killed himself in the game, obviously. And what he's going to do, he's going to activate Back in Time again. And as Phio said earlier, it's by resetting your console and pressing continue, not in that order. But what Fire was going to do, he's going to do a bit warp, which is essentially where you take the coordinates from Back in Time Skyloft and apply them to the file by saving at a statue and starting at the exact same time. And we are essentially going to do this to the Upper Academy statue in File 1, and what that does is that puts us quite a good way into Skyview Temple, as you'll see. But you'll notice that Skyview will be completely unloaded, so therefore we have to kind of go into a room, kill this like skull slug thing, go out, and then get the beetle. So you'll see that happen.
Oh, looks like we're seeing something interesting from Indy here now. I did actually not pay attention what he was just doing. I just saw that he was on the title screen again, where you usually should not be. So Yeah. I think he's probably gonna do a combined Skyview. Yeah, he's probably gonna do a combined Skyview. So now he's leaving Skyview again, and yeah, he's probably going to RBM. He's probably doing like early Thunderhead and RBM Pharaoh's Courage slash the Trial Gate. He's not RBMing Pharaoh's Courage. He needs to get that, but he will probably RBM like the Trial Gate or something like that, I would guess.
Yeah, he's doing something really confusing. Combined Farron is basically where you do the first cycle of Farron and the second cycle of Farron together, which is a thing you can do.
You mean?
Skyward, yeah, sorry. So again, as I said, the room got reloaded as soon as Phio entered the room. Also, Pigastroff is raiding with a party of 11. He did just do a run, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Basically, what Phio did is he reloaded the room. There was a spider in a way, and what you're meant to do is you're meant to use a beetle to cut him down. But of course, we don't have a beetle, so what we had to do instead was just do a quite precise jump. There are kind of a number of different strats you can do. Like I think the strat I use is much safer. It's a little bit slower, but it's where you spin around and you use a Skyward stab to kill him. But really, if you want to just go for speed, you would want to jump past him, but he can be really annoying to new runners.
And you saw just on Phio's screen, you saw the one of the rare users of the shields. He was just obliterating that Stalfos knight.
Yeah, so I believe Indy is going to do the RBM where you cut the
Indy is
logs.
going to do the RBM for the Ferrera's Silent Realm gate with the combined early, which is actually a really interesting route. That was actually in an older any percent route, which is really interesting in IMO. It's almost a shame that we're not doing that anymore, because I really like that route.
I never really learned it. I kind of learned it, but not really. Not to like the extent of
So from now on, it's gonna be a bit to compare Indy to Phio, because now they're gonna do things completely differently.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite hard to see who's in front until pretty much the end game. Maybe a bit sooner, but they're just gonna be doing whatever on their own.
So as I was just saying, what Indy just did was he RBM'd, meaning he applied flags from back in time to the file, to his game file, which means now he would have access to the trial gate in Farron, but unfortunately, due to layers, he cannot go into that Silent Realm unless he's got the song Pharaoh's Courage. That song he is getting by visiting the Isle of Songs, which is in the Thunderhead. Now, the Thunderhead here is a bit an odd factor, basically, because the Thunderhead, we basically RBM the Thunderhead, but usually you can only RBM stuff that is on the map you are currently on. And Thunderhead is kind of an exception to that, which is really interesting, because this is some kind of story flag which applies throughout all the maps.
Yeah, so I will just say that Phio did the Sheikastone RBM, which is where he started File 1, and he played the Sheikastone cutscene. That's the only reason why he got the... Okay, well actually Indy did the safe route, but that is kind of why you need the practice sword, because if you didn't have the practice sword in your inventory, then that cutscene would not play, so... that's kind of, I guess, why Indy intentionally went out of his way to get it, but the route that Phio did meant that he kind of had to get it. Also, those vines that Phio took, they're not hard, but they're not easy either. So I think Exto made a good tutorial on how to swing on those vines.
Shoutouts to Exto and his Skyview vines tutorial.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Okay, yeah, these going back on these vines can be quite finicky because you're not meant to. You're meant to kind of go around the long way, but he does it fine. And
yeah,
you see that this boss key is pretty easy to figure out. They'll get harder as we go, but this first one, you literally just turn it and you're done.
We actually only go here to get this song, and we will actually never come back here. So if we could find a way to skip the requirement of having of needing to to open the Farron trial gate, we would not need to open the Thunderhead anymore, or even go here at all, or to the Isle of Songs. We only go here to we only go here to get Farora's Gorge, and then we'll never come again.
Yeah, one thing I just want to say is one thing you might have noticed is that Phio skipped the entirety of the Girahim 1 fight. He did that because of the Sheikah Stone RBM, and what he did is the Sheikah Stone RBM had a bit they activated that corresponded with the door being opened behind Girahim when he's done, and so by activating the Sheikah Stone cutscene in Skyloft and starting File 1 at the precise time, what he did is that he kind of got the values and copied them to File 1 so that he could essentially just skip the Girahim fight. It's pretty confusing, but just the more you watch it, the more you understand it. Just yeah.
Yeah, this is also the you can also see I was focused on Indy right now, so I didn't pay attention to File what he was doing. So here you can see this game is really interesting. It does have kind of some confusing skips, and I'm sorry if we can't cover everything because they're doing two different routes. So if you're missing something, if you're missing an explanation to something, just ask in the chat. We'll try to answer all of your questions.
Yeah.
So Indy is gonna do the Indy is now gonna do the Farron Salon Realm, which he RBM'd the trial gate earlier for. You couldn't see it before due to layers, because you needed to reload the area anyways. Yeah. But coming up on Fire's end is something really interesting, because he's gonna do something that is called early Ellen Pillar, and that is he wants to apply the Elden Pillar to his second file, not to his first file, which is the file he's mainly playing on. No, he wants to apply it to his second file. And his second file is special in that kind of, because it did not even complete Scala. It does not have the knight's outfit yet. It is what we call an early game file. And this early game file is extremely important for us, because this is gonna allow us to load the sky back in time, which, or not quite the whole sky, but it allows us to load part of the sky, because we did not free our loft wing yet on that, because we just freed our loft wing on that file. The file is saved at the prop of the loft wing ceremony. So that's why the game assumes that we just that we need to do the tutorial. But I'll talk about that later again. So as you just saw, Fire now has on his second file, he's got his Elden Pillar. Now he's gonna put in the Elden Pillar, the Elden Tablet, normally on his game file. But now that he's got this, Elden Pillar on his second file, you can do some crazy shenanigans with that, which I'll talk about when we are that far.
Yeah, someone in chat asked a while ago about there being instant deaths in this game. For the most part, no. You will see that we will use corrupt files to kill ourselves quickly, but regarding like instantly dying, other than corrupt files, not really.
There
if that is
are
what you mean.
some scripted deaths in the game, but that's about it.
Yeah.
In terms of instant deaths, like the only ones I can think of right now are missing the hitting the boulder or hitting Scaldera when he's rolling down, getting the boss key in Earth Temple, and getting crushed by the pillar in Ancient Cistern, or just losing any kind of demise fights. Not demise, imprisoned fights. So I'm not sure if you can count that as instant death.
I mean, you get a
that's
game
basically
over.
Everything else than instant.
Yeah. Technically, you don't die, but you do get a game over if you fail the imprisoned fight. So yeah. We see that Indy is collecting life roots. These are not all useful. You will see some runners go for them because they will refill your stamina and they're quite safe to go for. But you'll see other runners, such as myself, who don't go for them, and I think that saves about 4 seconds. But yeah,
an extremely interesting fact is that Indy did not only improvise his whole route, but apparently he also improvised his Silent Realm route. Because
was kind of a mixture of the two.
He got the first tier like right away, then he turned around to get that second tier. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Because usually you get the tier he got first as the very last one, and get the second one as the first, and so on. But that is just that.
Yeah. Okay, so Phio is doing another bit warp. This time he has to be in a pretty precise spot in order to fall through the ground. He did get it, which was nice. And that kind of skips the kind of first overworld part of Elden, which is quite neat. And you will see him take 4 hearts of damage. That is the most you can take whilst 4 damage, so that's pretty cool. You can't take any more than that. And basically for Phio, he's going to... This is going to be probably in my opinion, the most probably coolest use of the really big Skyward Strike, because he's going to kill all these bokoblins with it. Like, it's going to be really cool. Okay, he doesn't quite get it. If you do get it, it looks amazing. He sort of got it in that last bit, but he kind of got it. So the whole point of kind of killing all those people is to get to digging mitts, which is only really useful for kind of advance further in Elden. You are not going to see these being used anywhere else, pretty much. So yeah.
So it looks like Indy is readying up for the combined sky view. That's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen the combined sky view in ages.
Yeah. Actually really like that route when it was the fastest one. Also, what you just saw on Fire's screen is something really interesting. You can just put that bomb like right next to this fire animal there, to this fire turtle or whatever you would like to call it. But he does not take any damage from like putting the bomb right there. Why? I have no idea. It just is like that.
Yeah, unfortunately Phio does not get circles. Circles is basically where you roll into this cutscene that Phio's in. in a very specific way, and Link will just run around in circles, and you lose exactly 1 frame, but it looks so cool when you get it. I think some runners, including myself, has kind of found a way to get it semi-consistent. But it's quite hard to get, even though it's so sad. I found a way to get it consistent. It doesn't even matter.
You were the one who got it in the last monthly as well, did you?
I did get it in the last monthly. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So now Indy is doing the bit warp that Phio was doing earlier.
He's also making a corrupt file, as it seems. I don't know why he's doing that.
File. Okay, that is interesting.
Well.
That means that Indy has his his early game file, which he'll be needing later in file number 3.
Yeah. What is Indy doing? I'm just gonna say that right now. I don't actually understand what he's doing.
Yeah, it is really interesting. There are quite some ways to finish this game. Something I would not believe I would have said about a year ago. Like a year ago, I would have said someone asks me, "That's impossible. Like this will never happen." And well, look at us. Here we are. Also, so interesting. What you just saw in the screen. There were 2 starters in the mid-boss room. Well, it's not really the mid-boss room, but there were 2 starters, basically for the fact that because he is doing the combined Skyward route, the game thinks that he is already in this Skyward, but he did not ever complete Skyward 1, which means that there is still some stuff from Skyward 1, but there is also like this stuff from Skyward 2.
Yeah.
What just happened on Phio's end? I saw him resetting his console.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. He kind of just. I assume he. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know what happened for you to like. Maybe he like pressed the power button instead of the reset button when he's doing bit.
Yeah, maybe.
That is physically possible because they're quite close to each other.
Not that this would ever have happened to me.
No, that happened to you. Yeah. Okay, so you see in Indy's side that there was no Stalfos again because the game is quite confused. So it just lit up the chest, just nice chest, just for us to walk into. Yeah, pretty nice.
Yeah, free to go. Here, take it as a gift. The game says thank you. Thank you for playing. Thank you for playing the game.
Yeah.
Those archers there are actually really dangerous because they're snipers and
yeah, they've got aimbot.
If you were to die there, you would need to do the bit warp again.
Yeah.
For like doing the bit warp again for getting into the middle room again, in the middle part of, which would right side and lose.
Okay, so I feel like we should probably explain what's happening on Phio's end, because now he's in nighttime back in time. Now he's going to put a gravestone and start the file. So basically, what he's doing is he's able to activate nighttime back in time by going outside and kind of selecting a really early game file, such as file 2. And what that does is that it allows it not to crash. And so I will say that what Phio did is that he pushed a nighttime grave, and what that does is, because he started file 1, is that corresponds with opening the Earth Temple. It kind of shares the same bit. So we'll see that in a minute, but right now he's just running up Elden Volcano. And Indy finishes off Skyview pretty much. He's boss doing a different route, of course.
Yeah, Indy now has to go through the boss fight of Skyview. Now the question is gonna be, which boss does he have to fight? Is it the boss of Skyview 1 or is it gonna be the boss of Skyview 2?
And that cutscene was a
Well,
bit weird.
it's the boss of Skyview 1. It's Girahim.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I'm just saying right now. I didn't know that. I was assuming it would be Skyward 2 because he didn't have that Southhouse in the other room. But I don't know anything.
Because he never defeated Girahim. Girahim is still there.
Yep.
Which
Also,
kind of actually makes sense.
Yeah, this is the actual Girahim fight without the skipping it, because I don't think he did that reverse bit magic, so he's still gonna fight it normally. It's not a very hard fight, it's just pretty RNG dependent.
Yeah.
At some point.
This is one of the rare times where you're actually gonna see this fight, because usually we just skip this fight in any percent, because there is a way where we can just load up, or we can just RBM the boss door right behind him, where you can just run past him, go right through the door, and never have to fight him, ever.
Yeah, so he's done, yeah. So here's another fact that you probably didn't know. All of the Mogma are named after pieces of metal. Like, for example, there's a Mogma called Lead, L-E-D-D, which is obviously for the metal lead. There's Plats, which is for platinum, and I don't really know any others. That's just, yeah, another useless fact that you'll never have to know. Or you'll know, but you never have to use, ever.
I actually didn't know about that one with the Magmas. Well, I didn't know about the fact with the Kiwis. I didn't know about the one with the Magmas.
And I believe that all of the robots are named after numbers.
What you can see on Fire's Ender now is kind of a camera manipulation. Which allowed him to get an early cycle in Earth Temple, so that he can right up fly those platforms. So he's having a better cycle there, because the game works after the principle of what you can't see does not exist. So the game only loads the things that are actually visible in the camera. So if we turn a camera, the game doesn't load this cycle.
Okay, so Indy appears to be getting some sacred water, which is only ever useful to heal the water dragon, but that's not useful in the 80% route. But I think just anything that happens in the 80% route is just not going to apply to Indy at this point, because he's doing his own thing at this point.
Yeah. Also, you saw some pretty cool cutscene skips there on Fire's and Devil in Earth Temple, because he kind of delayed the cutscene just enough by doing a jump, by rolling off the stairs and jump slashing, and which basically interrupts the cutscene with because cutscenes cannot play while Link is in the air. Also, on Indie screen, you just saw, because we never defeated the boss of Skyview 2, but did actually Skyview 2, well, now there's the boss of Skyview 2. So we've got like 2 bosses in Skyview right ahead. But we don't bother with those stealth bosses, it is just getting killed by them, and now it's probably gonna be right up ahead, going through the water dragon and giving him the sacred water, and then he's probably gonna do Cistern second, what he was thinking of doing, or what everyone thought he would do, but Indy still told us to wait because he was unsure of what route he would do. Also on Fire's End, you can now see the same RBM again as he did earlier, when we did not even explain that there was just an open door. He could just enter Earth Temple because he RBM'd the door open, but the actor was still loaded, So there was the loading zone for the door to enter Earth Temple, but there was like not really. But the door was still there, so he kind of got sucked into the Earth Temple earlier.
Okay, so
That is due to the RVM he did earlier. What you now saw on his screen again, but with the difference that the RVM he did now is that he now actually got early Thunderhead as well, which means he's gonna be traveling to the Thunderhead soon, right after completing Earth Temple.
So what Indy is doing is it looks like he is opening the ancient cistern. I guess this is kind of why he got the sacred waters to kind of heal the water dragon, which in turn opens the ancient cistern. Now the ancient cistern is often used in the second cycle of the game that we mentioned at the start. And yeah, he's gonna open it. He's not gonna enter it as far as I'm concerned. He does have the scale, so he probably could, and anything can really happen on Indy's stream because he's doing some weird route that
I think he actually said that he's gonna do Cistern second. So yeah, that's that. With some NTC 1.0 shit with Cistern Clip, that's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, he's gonna have some like old strats with the Cistern Clip. Okay, so Phio just getting the bomb bags then. He's on 1 heart. Earth Temple is a very hard dungeon. Because it's like, for example, you've got fire keys everywhere and it's quite a cool dungeon, but if you're on really low health, it could be a nightmare. It can be an absolute nightmare.
He actually wants to be on low health here. Because
you do want to be on low health, but it's very difficult being on low health.
Yeah, because he just wants to get the bombs now and then just instantly wants to die. So we go back to the bird statue where he's safe at. And then the RBM he did earlier, which had the side effect of opening the Thunderhead, actually RBM'd him this bridge, which is really good because because this skips the worst part of Earth Temple. Rolling around with the boulder is really the worst part of Earth Temple right after. So Earth Temple is not a good dungeon at all.
It's hard.
If you ever want to run this game, you're gonna hate Earth Temple. Yeah.
Also, as Indy pointed out, the cutscene he is currently watching is 2 minutes and 45 seconds on English. And I don't know the exact timings on Japanese, but it will be much quicker on Japanese.
Yeah.
Actually, in the current route that Phio is doing, Phio, I don't know how to pronounce his name, you actually skip this cutscene because you do a reverse bit magic you do a reverse bit warp, into the ancient system from Fire Sanctuary. I'll discuss a little bit about that when Phio gets there, but yeah.
What you could saw on Phio's end there though is that he triggered the second wave of stones, like on the second slope. He triggered the wave of stones, which usually you're not supposed to go through. Usually you're supposed to open up a hole on that slope through a bomb throw, but that's just slow. We don't want to do that. So he stood like in a dead spot where the stones could not reach him, and that is how he could do that.
Okay, so Indy doing System Clip, which is only possible on the NTSC 1.0 version, and and basically the reason why it's possible is because the floor doesn't exactly align at a specific point, so Indy can take advantage of that by just clipping through and getting the boss key early.
Yeah, this is something which only exists on the American NTSCU 1.0, not in any other version. Not in not in PAL. Consider yourself lucky if you've got such a version. Yeah. Because this club is pretty neat, but yeah, unfortunately you can't do it. You can only do it with this version, which has slow text. So usually this clip is obliterated by the faster text in the Japanese version, which is why you see top runners only run on Japanese and not run on NTC 1.0 with this exclusive glitch.
Okay, so again, Indy is in Ancient System. I will just say, Phio will not be in this Ancient System for at least another hour. Actually, probably a bit more like 15 minutes. Because again, just kind of how it works.
So now fire is coming up on the Scaldera fight, and as I already mentioned before, Scaldera is a very not cool boss fight.
Pikachu hates this fight with a passion, so we'll see that.
I hate this fight also with a passion.
I think a lot of people hate this fight.
Yeah. Let's see if he can get the ominous tricycle.
Or bicycle, I think is it's called. I think is it just a 2-cycle? Tricycles are actually they're pretty easy, but bicycles, they're very difficult. I don't think I can do it consistently. But I don't think Fire has done the bicycle, so I think he's just done the tricycle. Also, here's something that's interesting: is during his opening mouth animation, there are a couple frames where you can hit him with a Skyward strike. Of course, Fire missed this, but we might see this later, which is quite cool.
Fire's having a rough time with Scaldera there.
Yeah. He's a very difficult fight. That's kind of why a lot of people hate him.
Alright, nice. You got it though. Alright. Indy just got the key to enter the middle pillar of the Ancient Cistern. Where he actually did not need a key for. What he needs the key for though is this door which he just entered, which was locked. Yeah, where the whip is behind, which is usually locked because this is the door which you're usually supposed to go to the very first time you're entering Ancient Cistern to get the whip, not to get the whip, but to fight the Stalfos, which is at the bottom. So, yeah. He actually has the boss key as well, though. So, yeah, for him, it is time to fight a good old friend now, good old Loctus.
Yeah, again, Clockers isn't really a fight that you see in the early game, but because Indy is in the Ancient System really early, you just see him now. He's a pretty cool boss fight, and he's quite an easy one as well.
Yeah. Indy does not have bombs though, so he can't do the first cycle fast strat. He can't do first phase 1 cycle, I mean.
Okay, so Phio is essentially done with Temple, and this is kind of where the big skips kind of come in. I'm talking complete area skips. You will not see much of Lanero in this in at least Phio's end. I don't know about Indy's, but especially Phio's end, you will see no Lanero because you can skip the whole thing pretty much.
Yeah. I doubt that you will see much of Lanero on Indy's route as well, though, because that would just waste time. doing something in 1 hour would just waste useless time. Unless Indy is showing us all dungeons here, which I kind of doubt though.
Yeah, all dungeons
I
would take
think
a
he
while.
does have some intentions of winning at least.
Yeah. I think this race is actually quite close in relative to all of the races in the bracket. 'Cause I think this is again a very close one. It's pretty hard to see who's the faster runner. 'Cause I think on PBs,
Yeah,
they're
I
only
think,
like
I think
seconds
according
go
to
out
the
a minute
seed,
and a half.
those are 5th and 4th. So
Yeah,
like
seeds are
the
5th and
only
4th, yeah.
ones that are directly next to each other.
In fact, I'm actually going to see how far apart their PBs are. This might have changed because the seeding was done before. I think the seeding kind of stopped mattering. Well, the PBs stopped affecting the seeds. I think on the 29th of January. So I do want to see how far the PBs are now.
So Phio is now getting Pharaoh's Courage in the Alps. And India has can do the slow Galactus first phase there. Because he does not have bombs. If you have bombs there, which you will probably later see on Phio's screen, you can do this first phase way quicker in one cycle. But yeah. Because bombs, because Galactus has 80 health in that first phase, and once he's over 41 damage, he goes back. He goes back to attack mode. But wonder or wonder, bombs do exactly 40 damage on Galactus. So yeah. So that is why we can do the. That is why with bombs we can do one phase. One cycle, first phase on Galactus. Got that. So Fire is doing another back in time here. And the reason why he did go out there is because if he would be in the Isle of Songs, he could not activate back in time. Because for some reason, the game is weird. You cannot activate back in time in the Isle of Songs. The game sometimes does have some weird exceptions to stuff, which I don't know why.
Yeah, I think Temple of Time is also very similar to that. It's like, whilst back in time is possible, you just have to do it in like a 2-frame window. But in most of the times, you got like a second window.
Yeah.
It's weird. Just yeah. Alright, so it looks like Phio will be doing the Nehru pillar in back in time. I think. Again, this one it doesn't matter if you do it in back in time, but it's quicker, so we just do it anyway. And we do this by saving file 1 to the lower academy statue so that we can kind of be back in Skyloft. And he examines he examines the upper academy bird statue with file 3 in order to make sure that the pillars rise. He has probably done something a little bit wrong because of that Phio cutscene, but it's fine. I don't think it's a huge deal. I think he just did something a little bit out of order.
Alright, what is Indy doing now though?
Yeah, Indy's, for those of you who are just coming from ZSR2, Indy's doing this really weird route that we don't actually know. It's kind of a combination of the old routes with a kind of, like, for example, he did Ancient System has a second dungeon, which is like, that like never happens.
Oh, Indy is now doing early Elden Pillar, it seems like. Yeah, of course, which actually makes sense that he's doing early Elden Pillar now. Because when else would he do it? He's got everything done in Farron, So now he would need to do Elden. That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. I need to get something to drink because my voice is slowly dying.
Right. So again, for those of you who have just tuned in, the reason why we're doing the Elden Pillar is to, at least for Indy, is to get the Elden Pillar onto file 3. And this is important because the Elden Pillar on file 3 will be used in Back in Time to activate Farron in Back in Time, if you're kind of wondering how. Well, because in Back in Time, you only ever enter the Elden Pillar. The Elden Pillar will be the first thing you enter into. The game will think that you're into Farron, so it'll make you go into Farron, which Back in Time and Farron can make you do a bunch of stuff, including the infamous 7x04, which isn't really infamous, but it skips like a good an hour and a half, 2 hours of this game, so it's very good. So you see on Fire's end, he is about to do a glitch that pretty much skips the whole of the Nehru. What he's going to do is he's just going to do a reverse. He's going to do an RBM, and it's literally just talking to Betro, the friendly demon person who's like at the bottom of Skyloft. And what this will do is it will, because he'll start file 1. What it should do is that it should make the Temple of Time statue something you can fly to, and if you can fly to the Temple of Time statue, then you can complete the. Okay, you can't really complete the Nehru mining facility, but you can get the harp, and that's all we actually need for the Nehru, because the Song of the Hero skip basically means that we don't need anything else from the Nehru, which is pretty cool.
For those coming from CSR2 who did not catch the beginning of this race, RBM means reverse bit magic, which basically lets us apply flags from this Back in Time map, from the map where we are currently on, to the map where our game is saved on. And in this case means activating the quest, which triggers Buttrell, and the gratitude crystals. We usually just call this bat signal, fittingly in the Discord. This particular flag on the Lanairu map, flags are map specific, which means that on another map they can mean something completely different. And on the Lanairu map, this means that activated the Temple of Time Bird statue. Now we need to commit this flag.
Yeah, so
and then we need to fly back so that we can actually fly to that bird statue.
Yeah, so there are kind of different ways you can commit a flag. You can do it by kind of emptying a kind of pothole of like rupees and stuff in the ground. You can do it by kind of shooting out rupees in the sky. Not in the sky, and like, for example, in that statue, he basically Fire revealed a hidden rupee, which is also, I think it's the most popular method of doing it.
So yeah, and, here you see the map is completely grayed out, but the bird statue, that is there. Yeah,
and all that's really left for him to do is just to enter into the Nehru mining facility and just enter out, and he's essentially just done with the Nehru. So apologies to anyone who likes it.
This is actually the only current known way to get in the not destroyed Temple of Time area, which is, or rather, without any cheats, like in the game itself. The interesting fact of that is that there is actually it's pretty cool to see this from the inside, like something the devs never wanted us to see. There is actually a Gate of Time. Unfortunately, it does not work. But yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
just
work,
interesting that they talk about it in the game, and you can see it actually not destroyed there, but it doesn't pretty much.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned,
Even if you could enter it, the game would just crash. I'm actually not sure. Someone actually did hack it so they could open it, and I'm not sure exactly if the gate actually opened and they could go through and it crashed, or if the gate just did not open.
Okay, so Indy gets another attempt at circles. For those of you who are new here, circles is where you roll into this cutscene at a very precise angle. He didn't get it. I don't think he either didn't attempt it or he rolled too late. But anyways, where you roll into this cutscene at a very specific angle, and Link will just consistently run around in circles, and you lose exactly 1 frame, but it's the best trick in the game, in my opinion.
So Phio is now gonna make his way to the Pharaoh trial, which we have already seen on Indy's end. But once again, Indy and Phio are doing 2 completely different routes. So we can't currently say who's actually in the lead. But since Phio did not RBM the trial gate, he actually has to play the harp now.
Yeah, so this introduces harp cancel, which is basically where you press B on the same frame that the trial completes. And what this does is that it skips the fire animation of the trial being opened, and it's pretty precise. It's not too hard if you're good at it, but for new runners it can also be pretty frustrating.
I hate it.
Yeah, I kind of do as well, and I'm pretty trained. It looks like Phio did not get it, so he has to kind of endure Phio's horrible singing for about 30 seconds. And yeah, it looks like I don't know what Indy's doing. I think he's doing the oh no, he's doing the nighttime gravestone reverse bit magic.
Yeah, Indy is gonna now RBM the door to early. I think from now on, what we're gonna see on Indy's screen won't differ from the current 80% route that much.
I think
at least I think
he's not going to be doing the reverse bit warp into ancient
he won't do that, but otherwise he will probably just complete Fire Sanctuary in 1 trip, I would assume, but otherwise I think we're probably not gonna see any more surprises from Indy. Though I'm always open if Indy has any more surprises.
Yeah, Indy is full of surprises, like just constantly about this game. Right, so I think from now on we'll probably be commentating on Phio's end, because all the stuff that Indy's doing he has already done, or Phio's already done, so there's not really much point in going over it, unless if you are new here, which I guess we will briefly go over it, but for the most part we will be sticking to Phio's stream.
Well, on Phio's end there's currently not so much going on, so let's talk a bit about the RBM that Indy did there just a few minutes ago. This RBM, so pushing the gravestone on Skyloft. This flag, the flag pushing the gravestone on Skyloft equals the flag open door into Earth Temple on the Elven map. But but since we did never reload the area, the actor is still there. The actor only disappears when we reload the area. So now we've got a pretty interesting cutscene here, which talks us about, you need a key to enter and stuff, and hey, they could just dig their way under the door. But, we basically can do that as well. You'll see in a few seconds.
Yeah, because what Indy's just going to do, he's just going to walk up to the door and he's going to be inside Earth Temple, which is going to look quite confusing, but he does it.
Yeah, that is because the loading zone of Earth Temple does actually expand past the door, or past the closed door, which means that...
I mean, often you'd enter into Earth Temple with a cutscene, so I guess the game didn't really kind of consider about the kind of loading zone of it.
Yeah.
I guess it kind
because
of...
you need to place the camera. And on Indy's screen, you can see again that he did manipulate the camera so that he could get this early cycle with the platforms. And some pretty interesting cutscene skips here as well. While on Fire's End, there is a lot of movement going on. So Sound Realms are one of the few things where you're actually just like running and that are completely dependent on movement. We actually can't say who is in the lead right now because Indy and Fire are doing two completely different routes, which makes it hard for us to say who is in the lead. I would guess that Phio is in the lead, but I have no assumptions
Yeah,
that
it's
are
pretty hard to tell.
based on that guess or anything.
Okay, so as Phio is just recovering from... Well, not really recovering, but he's finished that trial, but I will explain that Indy is going to be doing the exact same reverse bit magic that he was doing to open the Earth Temple, only this time he is using it to open, or not really to open, he's using it to kind of raise some pegs, and he's also using it to, okay, actually he's not using it to open the Thunderhead, because he's already done that, but in the current route you would usually use it to open the Thunderhead as well.
He's actually doing a different RBM.
Actually he is, yeah.
He's gonna be talking to our dear friend, what was his name again? I forgot his name. God damn it.
Well done. Yeah, you never remember these people's names if you run in Japanese such as we do. So, yeah, like I didn't even realize...
oh yeah, Pipit. Of course. How could I forget Pipit's name?
Again, you forget these people's
someone
names.
dig a grave for me that I can get right after the commentary. But until then, I will try my best to commentate the rest of the match. So yeah, interesting fact is there are actually like two flags which open this bridge. One of them is basically the gravestone, what we have seen earlier on Fire's End, and another flag, what we've seen on Indy's End right now, is Pipit, talking to Pipit here in the Night Academy.
Okay, so what Phio just did is he talked to a lady, which again I don't know her name because I don't run this game in English. And back in time, she gave us 5 gratitude crystals, and because we started file 1, yes, that
Burning Rana.
yeah, because we started Fire 1 at a precise time, Fire now has those 5 gratitude crystals, which will be very useful in another back in time, which will open the Elden trial for us. Yeah, now Indy is he's being full Indiana Jones, having the whip and also just being chased down a boulder, hence his name Indykenobi.
Making all honor to his... So Phio is doing another RBM again. My.
Yeah, he's doing
as if we haven't seen enough RBMs already.
Yeah,
No, there are even more RBMs upcoming, and they're only getting more crazy and crazy. So don't go anywhere. We're just getting started in here.
Essentially, yeah. But again, going back to that kind of cycles that we had at the beginning of the run. Again, the first cycle was it wasn't very broken, except we skipped all of the Nehru. That was really the only broken part. But as you've kind of noticed, just not focusing on Indy's stream, because Indy's doing his own thing, but on the current route, the second cycle that has been done by Phio, you'll probably notice that he got the he did the Ferryman trial, and what you'd usually do is you'd usually enter the engine system now, but he is doing the Elden side, and now he's going to kind of do both of them at kind of the same time. He's going to enter Fire Sanctuary. And then what he's going to do is he's going to enter Ancient System, which is kind of do both dungeons side by side, and then I believe he'll be done, pretty much. Well, he'll be entering Imprison 2, which is like, from there's like 15 minutes to the end of the game, 10 minutes around that.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me like of what we had in school, like rhyme schemes. So if you wanted to express this in rhyme schemes, then you would kind of have like a hugging rhyme. So we start with one part of Fire Sanctuary, then we do the completeness of Ancient Cistern, and then we do the second part of Fire Sanctuary. Why the hell did I just have that? Well, never mind. Never mind what I just said. Maybe it made actually sense, but don't ask me where I was coming from.
Okay, so again, Phio is now doing the Elden bit, which I don't think India's done. Yeah, he hasn't done that. One thing you'll notice is that there are...
Another thing you will notice on any stream right now, though, is, or maybe you noticed it earlier, and did actually pay attention instead of me. He actually skipped the bombs, so that means he's got to fight Scaldera bombless.
I didn't actually know that.
Bombless, because there are bombs, there are bomb flowers growing here, but well.
But if I remember correctly, I think I accidentally, I don't know how, but I accidentally forgot the bomb bags in a run. I tried to do it bombless, but that didn't really work. I don't know. Again, I don't know how I forgot the bomb bags. Was that there?
Not.
Yeah. I don't know if that was intentional on his part, because I don't think that.
I think that was pretty intentional on his end.
While shooting the bomb bags.
As I know, Indy, he's doing crazy stuff as always.
This is insane. Right?
We're talking about Indy here. Of course, he would do something crazy like skipping bomb.
Yeah.
Skipping bombs is probably not faster, because that means he'll be missing the main item to kill himself later on.
I mean, Indy was still really good with that Scaldera. That was a very good Scaldera.
Yeah.
If I've ever seen one.
For Bombless, that was probably pretty good Scaldera. could definitely be worse, I guess. But I don't know so much about Bumble Skull. Yes, this is done on hero mode because 1, we can skip cutscenes. 2, our Skyward Strike is way too overpowered in the beginning. And 3, we take double damage.
Yeah, skipping cutscenes is actually vital for doing Song of the Hero skip, because you'll notice that there'll be these in Hylia's realm. There'll be these double doors that you can access through early if you do reverse bit magic. But you'll notice how the game will soft lock. But as we can skip cutscenes, we can skip the soft lock, which would be impossible to do on normal mode. So therefore, in normal mode, you'd have to go through Skykeep, which means you have to get the bow and all that funky stuff. But we just skip all that with one press of the 2 button.
Shoutouts to Aza, by the way, who made an any percent route for normal mode. Alright, now that Indy is done with now that Indy is done with Earth Temple, he's probably gonna do Lanai. Oh, well, doing Lanai next sounds like there would be much, but well, he's probably just getting the harp and then he's coming back to Elden to Fire Sanctuary. So we'll probably want to place the Amber Tablet now. Fire is almost done with Elden Trial there. Okay, he did not do it in back in time though. Just gonna do it normally.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with someone with what someone just said in chat, which is that this game looks really cool. I honestly really like the art style of this game. It's kind of a mixture between Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. It's kind of got that. It kind of looks similar to Twilight Princess, but the color design is also very similar to the Wind Waker, and I honestly think that works really well on the Wii. So yeah, again, Fire was done with the Elden Trial. I'm not quite sure if I said this at the start. I will say it again, sorry if I'm repeating myself. But you might have noticed there are significantly more life roots in the Elden Trial, which makes skipping them really difficult. But it's still possible. Of course, Fire didn't go for skipping them. It only does say 4 seconds, so not every runner goes for it, and it's pretty difficult. Okay, so right now Indy is
depending on how fast Phio will, or if Phio will get the reverse, if everything for Phio will go without any problems, then we can probably now kind of guess who will be in the lead. Because Fire still has to do 2 dungeons. He still has to do Fire Sanctuary and Ancient Cistern. Indy only has to do Fire Sanctuary now.
Yeah. I will ask what happens if it's a draw. It's very unlikely, but I mean, if they both finish on the same frame and get both at the same time, I'm assuming we run again.
I don't know. I'm not thinking about something like that.
I mean, that's very
because-
unlikely. That's
Because
never
they
really
would need to finish like really on the same.
They'd have to start and end
Seconds.
on the exact same frame.
I mean, since SRL race time accounts, I don't know. They would need to finish at the exact. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think there has ever been a draw in an SRL match because
Yeah, I very much doubt it. Yeah.
I don't know
it really
how
come down-
precise SRL is, but SRL is pretty precise.
Yeah,
And
I think it'll
SRL
really
would
come down
probably
to.
decide then who was faster with dot done.
I think it'll really come down to who kind of presses like dot done quicker. But yeah, if they both press on the same frame, that would be very interesting. But again, in a 2-hour race, that's very unlikely to happen. It's probably happened with some of the shorter games, but not in this one.
Alright, Phio just did another RBM there, which was because we do not have any claw shots currently. We skip them entirely. That means that we can't water the second frog currently. That again means that we somehow gotta get past him. So we just RBM that we watered him. Sounds easy, right? And now there will be a kind of more tricky RBM. It's actually one of the worst ones in the game.
Flo, you
the
absolutely
round.
hate this one. I will say this right now. You hate this one.
Yeah, shoutouts to Pepper for finding this. Or not. However you want to look at it. You'll see in a minute. Also, I think this is the first time we see Fahrenheit, right?
I think so. Yeah. In
We
the
haven't seen
current
Fahrenheit
round.
before. So,
We haven't, so-
yeah. By loading in the early game file, we can load this guy. We can load the Loftwing tutorial in back in time, which allows to do Golden Pillar, which is pretty cool because because now we can get to the surface in bit. But something you may notice is that although we fly into the Elden Pillar, we land in Farron. That is due to the fact that it is scripted in the game that whichever pillar is the first one is the Farron pillar. Because we did not enter any pillar yet in back in time, we actually entered this. We entered this. Farron. This. Yeah, we entered this Elden pillar, and which basically is the Farron pillar. Makes sense, right? Elden equals Farron. Any questions?
One thing I will
So-
just say. Okay, no, you speak.
What Phio wants to do right now is he wants to fly up really high and then dive to the lumpy pumpkin, where he wants to RBM a gratitude crystal. Unfortunately, we are bound to the borders of the tutorial area, of the Loftwing tutorial, which means we can't fly directly to the lumpy pumpkin. We just gotta fly up really high, and hopefully get a good dive to the lumpy pumpkin. Seems like Fire did not have any troubles there though.
Yeah. He got it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like I believe we'll be doing the gratitude crystal RBM because I haven't seen him do that. But again, it does kind of look like that Phio is in the lead, but you do have to remember that Phio has not done Ancient System. So it might look like Phio's in the lead, but you can still really not tell until we get to the second part of Fire Sanctuary.
Well, Fire still has to do the entirety of Ancient System, while Indy only has to do now. Yeah. Indy is now getting the Gratitude Crystals, and then he wants to RBN not the Fire Trial, the Eldritch Trial Gate. I actually think that Indy is in a small lead here. Not sure though. Not sure entirely.
Again, it's pretty hard to tell, but judging by the fact that Fire still has to do the whole entirety of Ancient System, it's likely that indykenobi is in the lead again. It's very difficult to judge this sort of thing.
I don't think whoever has the lead here right now, though, is much ahead of the other one.
Yeah, no. If
I think they're both separated by like 5 minutes or so at a maximum.
Yeah, it's not huge at all.
It depends though if Indy will get. It depends if Indy actually gets the. If Indy gets a good lumpy pumpkin dive and Phio gets a good reverse spinball.
Yeah, we'll see.
If Phio messes up the reverse spinball, that's gonna cost him a lot of time.
Again, this race is really close right now. It's been really close for ages, and I think this one's really going to come down to really who's just the more consistent runner and who can just not mess up when it really matters.
So Phio, who is already in Ancient Sister now, not in Ancient Sister, I'm sorry, he is in Fire Sanctuary.
What's known as
Fire Sanctuary,
RBM Sanctuary.
Nicknamed RBM Sanctuary, there are a lot of RBMs who want to perform. Those RBMs are for the following. We want to have we want to have the overworld bird statue. We want to at the end of Fire Sanctuary, we want those gates that are blocking us from entering the boss key room. We want those gates to be down. And we want to we need another 2 RBMs to actually get the boss key. We need 1 RBM to block the which tells the game that we defeated the wall door. And we need another RBM, which tells the game to lower the gates.
Okay, so on Indy's side, he's having some trouble with bombs. Again, he did not actually pick up the bomb bag, so he's having to do some alternate bomb strats. Yeah, he did hit that, which is quite nice, but on the 3rd attempt.
Yeah, so that's why we want to do an entirety of 4 RBMs over our journey on through Fire Sanctuary. but you will only see 3 RBMs right now. You will see one on the second visit, or he is gonna split it up 2-2. Most runners just do it 3-1 though. I think the 2-2 is something SVA that.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, 3-1 is quicker, but it's... yeah. Someone asked about language time in English.
The Japanese
How-
version is the fastest for Skyward Sword, being faster by around 8 to 9 minutes compared to English. It does only have the American version of Skyward Sword though. The American version only comes with the languages English, French, and Spanish, I think. I'm not sure if I'm correct there. I'm not American.
Yeah, I don't know.
I only know the PAL languages. Sorry. But to our knowledge is not really big on that one. But we assume that English is the fastest language besides Japanese and Korean. Those are confirmed faster than English, Japanese, and Korean. But no other languages have ever been timed, to my knowledge.
I mean, I don't really think it's like really needed if they're timed, because even if you just look at it, it's pretty obvious that Japanese is way quicker than them, I think.
Yeah, nobody
Maybe-
really bothered to save a few seconds over text. Like, if you could just get a Japanese version and then save like
Yeah.
9 minutes of text, which used to be even more.
It used to be
The
even more
text
when they run
difference
just 5
has
hours.
gone
Yeah.
down from 40 to 50 minutes to 8 to 9 minutes. Oh yeah, right. There was that guy once. Yeah. Wondering what got of that guy. What became of that guy?
Do you know that Korean was timed, and that was like only just shorter than Japanese by I think a couple seconds, but yeah.
Yeah, he probably retired. That sounds plausible.
Okay, so it looks like we didn't actually mention this, but Phio is now doing, I believe, the reverse bit warp into Ancient System. You might have saw him do this like little funky side hops and stuff. And basically, what that does is so if in a bit back in time warp, what it does is it applies the coordinates from back in time and applies them to the file. Reverse back in time is that it takes the coordinates from the file and puts it to the map in back in time. So you see what we're going to do is we're going to, at least Phio is going to enter back in time, he's going to enter Ancient System in back in time and start the file, and start file 1, and what that'll do is he'll put Fire Sanctuary coordinates that he got, and kind of apply them to Ancient System, which will put him, it should, if it works, should have put him in the basement, and yeah.
Unfortunately, those coordinates are very precise where Fire needs to save on.
Yeah, like if you're...
So, we never know if it actually worked until Fire actually get.
Also,
If he did not get it, that means he just lost 5 minutes. And
Yeah,
he's
this is a
gonna
very
do that whole
brutal-
setup again.
This is very brutal if you get it wrong, especially to new runners. So
Yeah.
that would probably also be quite interesting to watch. But yeah,
So I don't think I've seen it fail recently though.
yeah. Okay, so what Phio's going to do is he's going to start file 1 basically when he hears the waterfall kind of become quiet, and that's kind of a good audio cue. So he's in. Again, he gets
Nice,
it.
he got it.
Yeah, he's in
Perfect.
the basement of Engine Cistern, and his coordinates were good. Again, if you are slightly too far to the left, you will fall into the kind of you find of the like passageway where it's you basically can't do anything. If you're a little bit too far to the right, you'll kind of void out. So it's very difficult, but it's, yeah.
Okay. Now this is the moment where I start to think again, who might be ahead? Is it Phio who has to finish Ancient Cistern and then only has to do the second part of Fire Sanctuary? Or is it Indy who gotta enter Fire Sanctuary with both RBMs and only gonna do the whole of Fire Sanctuary? I think Phio is actually ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Phio is not much ahead, but he is probably ahead.
Not much.
Again, these runners are very similar on the skill level, so
Yeah.
yeah. Whoever wins this race, I think, unless if something dramatic happens, they'll only win it by a very small margin. Yeah, and you guys can't see it on the restream, but we can see Phio's splits because he's got them on his stream, and he's only 30 seconds shy of his personal best, so he's not too far off his personal best. He's not on it, but he's not. He's on about a 2:33 pace if he plays identically to his personal best.
Indy having some troubles with RBMs. Yeah.
Okay, so it appears that Phio is not going for the safety save. Because the last place you saved was Fire Sanctuary. If you die, you go all the way back to Fire Sanctuary and you lose a lot of time. Like dying in Engine System, unless if you safety save, it is a huge deal. So a lot of runners would safety save. Phio does not seem to be going for that, which in my opinion is a bit risky, but you do you, I guess.
Well, Phio's always been a risky one.
Yeah, I mean, he did, in the monthly, not too long ago, he did the cutscene skip, and he did get it, which was quite cool, but it was pretty risky, not gonna lie.
Might still save later. When actually jumping. I mean, there is nothing that could really kill you right now. Except from maybe drowning.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
of
guess
course there are enemies which could kill you, but
yeah, like for example, if you miss time on those rolls past the sculptures, they will give you health, basically.
This underground tunnel is probably the scariest thing. It's not really that scary.
It's not that hard, but if you're new, it's pretty hard to do. Also, it looks like Indy. It looks like Indy's doing the water basin. He's not doing the lumpy pumpkin RBM, which is pretty interesting.
That
the
is.
flames are up.
Is he gonna do Scrapper?
I think he's gonna do Scrapper.
God, no, Indy, please don't. Don't do Scrapper, Indy. Yes, of course he will, because he already repaired. Because he brought the water to the water dragon. Of course he will. He of course will be doing Scrapper Escort. But okay, yeah, then definitely Phio is ahead.
I think he's ahead. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
yeah.
If Indy would have done the Lumpy Pumpkin RBM, Lumpy Pumpkin dive, then he definitely would have been faster. But I guess he's got his own route in hand. This really is just the old route as we used to run it, like 8 months ago or so.
Or like before RBM.
Which I should try to compare that route to my PB, because that's basically also what my PB does.
Yeah, no, like proper pro gamers will remember when this 5 hours long. Like those were the days when you would when you'd have a run, you'd literally just you'd basically sacrifice a whole day just to get a run in. Those are the good days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now his runs puny 2 hours long.
I still remember my first one being 12.5 hours. Those were the days.
Those were the days, yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it is not very weird state here of seed grounds, and he's gonna do it again. Oh, is Indy doing 7x04 now?
I don't know. I don't know what Indy's doing.
He's doing a bit in the Silk Route. Like the only thing that could usually mean is 7x04.
I don't know.
A bit
I'm assuming
in the
he is.
Silk Routes, but raising it off time. Yeah, but he could do that.
Oh no, he's doing Upper Academy RBM, which is really strange.
Which is 7x02? Actually, I don't think it was 7x02. But it's a prerequisite for 7x04.
Yeah, for those of you who
I guess now he will do 7x04.
Yeah. For those of you who think we're just talking complete bonkers here.
Indy really just with the 8-month-old route. Shoutouts to Indy for doing this for whatever reasons he had.
Yeah. Anyway, so 7x04 is essentially Song of the Heroes.
As you can just
it's the name of the bit.
See on Phio's screen there, he just one-phased Colossus there, the first cycle, with 2 bombs, which we could not see on Indy's screen, because Indy did not have any bombs, or still does not have any bombs. Why? I have no idea why he does that. Indy doing... Alright. Now, Phio is done with Ancient Sister, so he's only gonna do so he's only gonna finish 5 Sanctuary, and then he can actually go into Endgame.
Okay, so it looks like Indy's stream is going a bit. Oh, it's
Oh, it's back.
Yeah, he's what is he doing?
he is doing some XO4, I think.
Look, it looks like it. I don't know what else he could be doing. He could be doing the
He's probably doing some XO4. I can't think of anything else that he's doing some XO4 right now.
Yeah.
Because he just did the prerequisite for some XO4. I don't remember what it exactly was.
Yeah. Alright, so it looks
the
like
Upper Academy, and now he's gonna be doing some XO4. Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like Phio is just coming out of Ancient System. It looks to me he's on a pretty good PB pace. It's pretty hard to see, but it looks like it is. I think it's a 1 minute 34 PB pace. But yeah.
So what is he doing next? Now he's going.
This commentary booth is half telling the audience what Phio is doing, and half wondering what Indy's doing.
Well, it is hard to commentate on something that I'm not sure what exactly is happening.
Yeah, no, that is entirely true right now.
Also, shoutouts to Double in there. Alright, now as you can see on Fire screen, he RBM the Overworld Bird statue. So now he can fly directly to that one. And now he will be doing another RBM, because we haven't seen enough RBMs yet in Fire Sanctuary.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think this is going to be I believe he did 3 before he went to Ancient System, so I think he's just got 1 more remaining. I believe it's the Bizarre Reverse Bit Magic.
I don't think it's Bizarre.
Because that's the one you usually do now. My chair is like really squeaky.
It's a sensor. Yeah. Phio is in the lead.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know by how much because indykenobi
By
is doing
a good bunch.
Probably is because Indy's doing a really weird route, so it's pretty hard to say. Phio is now doing whip strats, which is it's essentially just where you just whip the what's it called, pot instead of smashing it, basically.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a really good run from Phio here.
Yeah,
There were no major mistakes in his run.
Yeah, it's pretty good so far. I think it has the potential for being a sub 230, but that's I don't know. I will just explain what he did there. So usually the game wants you to get the mob limits and do a bunch of other stuff, but because we've got the power of reverse bit magic, we can essentially just skip all that and basically make the iron bars go up. So therefore that skips the boss key essentially. Now at the beginning of the run, I said, or not at the very beginning, but at the first boss key, I did say it looked pretty easy, and I'm not lying. And I was not lying when they said they were getting harder, because this one looks pretty hard to do casually. But the first one is just turn it to H, it's more like a tutorial if anything. Okay, so now Phio is on Girahim 2. This fight is probably the most RNG fight, I would say, in the run. We don't really get much RNG, but it does have some form of it, so let's just hope for good RNG. Like, the only real RNG point in this run is Girahim 2 and extending Blow. All the other points are pretty easy, but yeah. Now, in the Girahim 2 fight, you want to avoid darts, because with darts you cannot do you can't do much damage. So the more darts you get, the worse it happens. But preferably you'd want him to preferably you want to attack him really as many times as possible. Okay, what is Indy doing? That is my next question. What is Indy actually doing?
Yeah, that's like a really interesting question. On and
Also-
off. The question of what is Indy doing? What will Indy do next?
Also, there were two water dragons for some reason. Okay, now Indy, it seems to be he's getting Scrapper. Now, what Phio completely skipped, but what Indy is doing now is Indy is getting a Scrapper, which is a little robot that he meant to save, but we just never met him because we skipped him for both routes. And basically what you have to do is you have to kind of guide this robot up the Elden Volcano, because there are a bunch of monsters everywhere and he's kind of an idiot because he didn't know where to land. So again, you kind of have to like get him up the volcano, but Phio completely skipped this. I believe Indy will skip this to some extent, but it'll be interesting to see what he does, because I don't actually know what he's doing in regards to Scrapper. Okay, so it looks like Phio had quite a good fight for Girahim 2. Now he is going to pick this heart container up. I don't know how many he has because I didn't count, but I'm assuming it's either 7 or 8, depending on how many.
It's probably just some. It wouldn't make sense for him to get the 8th one.
Yeah, most people get 7 because the double damage makes having an odd number of hearts way kind of more significant than having an even number of hearts. As far as I'm concerned, this is live. This is happening right now. So there is a short delay of maybe like 30 seconds, but this is happening right now, pretty much.
Yeah. This is all live.
Yep. Also, shoutouts to SVA. He has the world record, 2 hours 9 minutes and 22 seconds.
Incredible time.
It is incredible. He even messed up, I think, in Prison 2 at some point. So, and even with that, he still gets a sub 210, which is absolutely incredible. Like the fastest runner in this tournament, only just has a sub 220, so that's interesting.
So, Fire is now doing Fire is now doing will now raise the gate of the time, or whatever he does for that. I think he does some, I don't know, some weird shit there.
He does like the new route for it, basically.
No, I think when doing the Ballad of the Goddess RBM, Phio is doing some weird shit there. I'm not sure if he's still doing that, but he did at the beginning when he was learning the route.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, it does kind of look like Indy is quite far behind now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty hard to tell, not gonna lie, because of the route differences, but he is pretty far behind. And Indy dies somehow to Bokoblins, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so on Fire's end, what he's gonna do, he's gonna make sure that he the Z button when he entered that, otherwise he is gonna crash. And what he's gonna do here it looked a bit like much, but really what he just did is indykenobi.
Nice.
Oh,
Shoutouts to Golden Skull.
nice. But he's already got
Shoutouts to
900.
that explosion in the back. This
Yeah.
is a beautiful. This is out what you saw right there on screen.
Yeah. So basically, what happened on Fio's
Also,
screen is-
shoutouts to that moblin.
Yeah, your boy's just hovering in midair. So basically, again, what happened on Phio's screen is that he selected file 2, which would make the kind of harp appear, or the song, or getting the song appear, and he started file 1, so he basically got the song on his file 1 file, and what that does is it basically makes the gate raise in the Sealed Temple. Don't really ask me why, it's pretty confusing.
Yeah, that guy's floating there like he's got nothing better to do.
Yeah. Okay, so now I believe. Okay.
Well- Rip,
Ooh, okay.
Rip Scrapper on the screen.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
This is what sucks about Scrapper.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to try and explain 7x04. It's pretty difficult. But anyway, so what what Phio has done is he has walked up.
He's done it as well, actually.
I think Indy's done, but I'll try and explain it on Phio's end. He selected the Upper Academy statue with file 1, and I believe he saved it with file 2. Examining it with file
damn.
1.
Indy is having some serious struggles there with Scrapper and those
Yeah.
keys.
Yeah. So
Yeah, this really sucks, by the way.
this does kind of suck for Indy F in the chat for him. Anyway, so on Phio's end,
Scrapper does
again,
not deserve any ads. He's just the most stupid character. Skyward Sword.
yeah.
Okay, now we got it. Finally.
Yeah. Yeah, as Indy says in the chat, it's pretty random. Anyway, so basically what Phio has done, he selected file 1 at the Upper Academy statue in order to get the bit 7x02, which is going to be important. Don't ask me why, it just is. And he saved file 2 so he could basically fly, which is exactly what it is. So now he's entered Farron. I don't exactly know what he's going to do. I believe, yeah, he's just going to run past these Deku Brothers. Again, they're a little bit challenging, but not really for new runners. So he's going to select file 2, run up this, and I believe he's going to enter behind the temple with file 2. Yep. And I also believe what he's going to do, he's going to select the statue with the file 3. Save and quit with file 1, I think. Yeah, save and quit with file 1. Get the Wii Motion Plus menu up and cancel with it. And what all of that does is it sets up the correct values in the memory perfectly for what he's about to do next. So he enters it with he enters Farron Woods with file 2, and what he's going to do is he's going to select file 1 and press Z and 2 pretty soon after, not immediately soon after because it won't work, but pretty soon after. And if you were really minute, you'd have saw the cutscene playing, and yeah, and in theory that should have worked. He still needs to commit the bit, which I believe he's going to do here, or not. Okay, he doesn't commit the bit. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but as far as I'm concerned, he did not commit it, so if it didn't work, we'll probably know why. If it still worked, then it'll still work, but yeah. But if it doesn't work, we'll probably know why.
I don't think you actually need to commit it here.
I don't actually know. I've always kind of done the committing sort of thing. But yeah. I can commit it with text. Okay. Yeah, because I've always like
I knew that it was some kind of auto commit.
I kind
I
of
was just not sure.
I kind of knew that you can use. I knew that you could use a phi text to kind of commit it before, but you didn't have that before, so I didn't. You don't have that now, so I don't really know. Okay, so Phio is now entering in Prison 2. Now this run, no, not this run, sorry, this boss fight can either make or break your entire run. Many runs have died to this because of how difficult it is, and it is difficult because there is a there is a precise trick where you have to stay on the imprisoned's head, and if you get it, this fight is really quickly. It's done really quickly if you get it pretty much twice in a row. If you get it both times, but if you mess up at least once, this fight takes forever, and because it's at the end, that is why this fight is kind of so devastating to runs. So we'll see how he does. It looks like he's going to go for the strat where he cuts off his fingers. This is so that he can enter into the first air vent. It's pretty precise, but again, he gets it. He's going to jump on his head. A lot of people didn't know this, but you could jump on his head. And he backs up, and oh, he didn't get it. So what he was meant to do, he's meant to back up and basically do a very precise jump slash onto his head. And but unfortunately, he didn't get it. So this fight is going to be quite long. If he would have got it, this fight would have probably been over in like the next 30 seconds because he could have done it again. But again, it's yeah.
Alright.
So now we see Phio, well not Phio, on Phio's end we see the imprisoned time. I think you can either use the Grucinators to get by this, but I guess when possible you wouldn't use the Grucinator, so you're just gonna kind of like just chop him down with your own hands. Not own hands, but like chop his hands down with your sword, which I believe is quicker in this situation.
Okay, he just did all the RBMs, or I don't know, all the RBMs. He just did the RBM to get the overboard bird statue. So now he's gonna leave the area and will fly there. From there on, he will perform the rest of the RBM he needs to skip everything to get to the boss key.
Yeah, Phio did not get the trick the second time as well. It is very precise, and you have to practice it over and over to get it. Just yeah, it's very hard. And probably, in my opinion, the longer this fight goes on for, the harder it is, because I guess kind of the higher you are up this kind of spiral, the harder it is to kind of jump on his head. It's not that difficult, but it's definitely way harder than it is if it was definitely way lower down the spiral. And of course, there is the whole kind of stuff about.
Did he just jump down?
He might have just jumped down. I don't know why, but he might have just jumped down. He did.
He did jump down.
Why he jumped down? I don't know. He
I have
reasons.
no idea why he did that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Another question: he doesn't know that he has the Grucinator ready.
Yeah, he's using it right now, and what's he actually kind of doing now is he's using it, but then immediately pressing up to kind of go back to Link, and this kind of stops. It kind of skips, I guess, the animation of him being hit. But yeah, that wasn't a great Imprisoned 2, but I think it could have gone much worse. Yeah. Again, it's one of those fights where it's really, where if you execute it perfectly, it's really short, but if you fail at anything, it's really long, and failing something is very easy in this fight. Again, it can make or break your entire run. So it will be very interesting to see how his PB will stack up against this. Can't really see his splits very well, but it looks like he's still ahead. Or it might be, yeah, it looks like he's still ahead by like 2 minutes right now.
Depending on how Indy's imprisoned fight will go, I would guess they're about 15 to 20 between, or actually not 15 to 20, more like 10 to 15, I think. But yeah, it currently looks like Phio will definitely bring this home unless he does not do any major mistakes anymore.
Yeah, if he does a Horde, then that might be very interesting. But I think even if he's got so much time, he's got so much leeway that even if he does die, but I think he's still kind of got this. But again, one of the great things I love about this game is that you never know who's winning until they deliver the final blow.
Alright, now it's the moment of truth for Phio there. Or not quite. Just he's good to go through a bunch of cutscenes and dialogues. So in the meantime, we can focus on the beautiful fight between Indy and Girahim 2.
Yeah, it looks to be okay so far. He only held up one sword at that point. That was very weird.
I also didn't see much darts, if I saw any at all.
Yeah. The less darts you have, the better, I'd say. It was quite cool.
I think considering the fact that Indy is running on English, he is not that far behind Phio.
Yeah. I think if he actually bought a Japanese copy, he might be pretty much neck and neck.
That looks like Phio did not get 7x4 there.
It's, okay, that's very interesting.
Skeptical about it.
Because now this is giving Indy a lot of time.
Yeah, this is gonna cost him some time.
You can now see that I think he's getting nervous now, because I don't know if he knows how far behind Indy is, but I think that he does have a lot of that leeway that he could have had. Because he didn't get 7x04, a lot of that is gone now. So he's gonna have to be very careful.
Definitely. This is well, this is the major mistake I was speaking about a few minutes.
Yeah. Again, anything can happen with this game. Anything can happen.
Not knowing that the major mistake already. So Indy is making his onto the Imprisoned 2 fight now.
Yeah. I actually don't know what went wrong with this 7x. Pretty solid to me. The only thing I don't know.
I guess he wasn't entirely sure of it for himself, because he did not get the true Master Sword yet.
Oh, he's doing that. He's like he's checking it with file 1 and then he's doing something else, and he's then checking it with file 2, and that might be a bit wrong. I don't know, but I think it's either that or he just stops. So yeah, things are looking really desperate for him now. It's going to be very interesting. This race is really going to come down to the wire now.
Well, would you look at that? Here is the promised excitement. As I told you, don't go anywhere. This race is about to conclude, but with what for an excitement?
Exactly, yeah. This category can just pluck out excitement from anywhere, and you never know who wins until the final blow has really been dealt, and that's, in my opinion, why I think this run so great.
Not really, but you do get a when you're entering Horde, you are pretty much safe. Of course, you could always die to Horde.
A, die at Horde, B, miss Horde skip, C, die at Girahim 3, or D, die at Demise. You can do a lot of things at Horde, just saying.
That is true.
But
Though some of those things are not any major
kinda depends how
mistakes
far
you
away
were
your
just
opponent is,
speaking
to be
of. I would not consider dying to demise or not getting horde skip as a major mistake there.
not getting horse skip is more that sort of thing where it would ruin your PB. It wouldn't really ruin a race though. But it would kind of ruin a PB attempt, and
Yeah.
probably similar thing with
It
demise.
could lose you any close races, but
Yeah.
we're not that close here yet.
We might be if Indy can catch
Indy
up.
is getting a really good M2 right now. I think he nice, not ahead yet, but he's been close to ahead there.
I believe Indy has done 7x04, so
Yes,
yeah.
Indy has done 7x04 already.
Yeah, and I think
If Indy is getting a perfect M2 here, this might be interesting.
could be it. We'll see how Imprison 2 goes, because again, this can make or break.
Well,
But he
never
falls.
mind. So much for the perfect fight.
He can still do a pretty good fight if he even nails the two stays on his
Yeah.
head things. I don't know what they're called.
If Phio is getting 7x4 now, he is still ahead though.
Yeah, but again, that kind of huge lead he had was pretty much gone. So
Yeah, definitely. That
he's
huge
gonna have
lead
to,
is
yeah.
definitely gone.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really paying. I'm kind of paying attention to both of them. That's cool right now. I don't know if it's gonna work for Fire. I think it will. Well, we might have done it too early. That was too early, I think, from Fire. So
I don't know.
It
I
might-
can't really tell. I can't really tell from any video or so.
it is quite hard to tell.
I gotta experience this myself to actually say if this
Yeah.
worked or not.
I think there are a lot of things that could have gone wrong then. I'd be surprised. Of course, I don't want it to go wrong, but it's yeah, it's still a possibility for him to completely mess it up.
I
And I
think he
believe
actually got it.
He might have got it. I don't know.
Not worried
I'm hoping he
about
has,
that,
but we'll see.
actually.
And I believe talking to Impa is just enough to commit it, so we'll see. And he's got
Yes,
it.
he
Nice.
got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Now again, he's still in the lead, but his lead has been his lead has been cut down. So, not by a huge amount, but by enough to make a death really get you nervous. So yeah.
All right. Welcome to the horde fight.
Right, so one thing that happens in this fight is horde skip. So basically what happens in horde skip is you run into one of these barriers. We don't run into one, but you run into like one of these sections at a very precise angle in a position. And what that does, that sets up a moblin perfectly, so when you run up a shield, you should jump over. It'd be very interesting to see if anyone gets it, because it is pretty precise. It's pretty hard to get, so we'll see. Okay, I'd always say that a good way of aligning yourself is those three bokoblins with a bomb, just kind of, yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's see it.
No, we
No,
didn't get it. That was
no horde
a
skip.
little bit,
But
it was a bit, like, sporadic, I guess is the word I'd use to describe. It wasn't the greatest, I'll be honest with that. But he unfortunately doesn't get it, so he's gonna have to go down the normal way.
and he's gonna have to fight the blue bokoblin.
Yeah.
This blue bokoblin is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, he like really sucks a lot.
If you can't get rid of him early, he will be so annoying. So that's why you usually want to try to avoid him as much as possible. and get rid of him as early as possible by throwing him over the barrier, like throwing him downwards to the left right now.
Okay.
Off the sea grounds.
Phio is having a little bit of
It doesn't
trouble.
seem like Phio is getting that though. Okay, now he got it.
Yeah, nice.
Never
That's
mind.
very hard
Just
to
what
get.
I was talking about it.
Especially considering that most people don't try to get that because you're not really meant to be there in a run. But yeah. How did Indy's imprisoned 2-5 go? I wasn't really focusing on it.
He missed the flash, but he got the second one.
Yeah, it must have been pretty good for him to actually like not be too far behind. Again, he's not too far behind, but he's not too close either.
Yeah, they're about 5 minutes apart still.
Yeah.
Of course, if Phio actually dies now, especially to Horde, if he dies to Horde now, then
that would be disastrous. I think
that would definitely be a disaster.
And especially if Indy's
if he is only dying to Giram 3/demise.
Oh no!
That's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous there.
Oh
no!
Oh no!
Oh,
Okay.
Whoa! This. Now we're actually really close.
We are very close. We are very
Phio
close.
is still a few seconds. Few seconds. No, never mind.
You better run.
No,
you better run. And
Indy is not doing the full hard strat.
Indy is going in it like a madman.
So Indy is actually they're like they're on the same frame.
Indy, I believe, is slightly ahead.
Indy is a few frames ahead.
Indy
is
now ahead.
Now it will depend on who's getting board skip.
This will be insane. This is great. I think.
Oh boy, I don't think I've ever seen a race this close.
I think race-wise, yeah, this is probably the closest they've ever been.
Oh boy.
I'm
on the edge of my seat.
I think everyone's on the edge of their seat. Again, whoever loses this will go into the losers bracket, and whoever wins will go into 3 because of how the thing goes.
Yeah, this just got real close.
This really matters because you do not want to be in that losers bracket at the start of the tournament because you have to claw your way back up, and that is very difficult. Okay, so here we see attempting horde skip is Indy.
Alright, Indy is attempting horde skip.
He doesn't get it,
and he did not get it as well.
He also dies, but I believe he has a fairy if he doesn't.
He's got a fairy though, pretty sure.
Yeah. So
does he have another fairy is the question?
Phio could still make it. Phio could still make it. There's still hope for him.
Phio can still get it, yeah, that's
You can still get it. If he doesn't get it, we're kind of stuck. No, he doesn't
get it. Phio doesn't get it either, though Indy is kind of stuck there.
They are both
what is up with Indy there? Indy is having troubles with those moblins.
Moblins are pretty trouble, actually. They're pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah, usually you just want to be lucky and getting them down with the bombs. Sometimes does not really work.
I don't
think this is
Phio
just
does not have a fairy,
really intense. Like, oh boy, does Phio still have a fairy?
He doesn't have a fairy.
He does not. Oh boy. This puts Indy in a huge lead.
Yeah.
Can Indy
bring made the comeback of the century here.
Can Indy bring this home is the question. Indy boiling us? I guess not.
I don't know about you, but if I was Phio right now, I would be really nervous. I think anyone would be nervous if anyone was in this situation right now. Because again, you do not want to be in that losers bracket off your first match. And I think Indy dies as well without a fairy.
Indy dies. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now Phio with a small advantage here.
He does have a small advantage. I don't think either of them have a fairy right now. The other one can get a fairy, but that takes a really long time. So you have to like go back and the bar. Indy is going to get another fairy.
Indy is going back and getting the set. Now
I would say that's a
question
little bit
is,
too late now, but that's
is this gonna be worth it for Indy?
I don't know if it'll be worth it, to be honest, because
Well, the question
he has
is,
to go-
will Phio? If the question is, how will Phio handle?
yeah. So now Indy has to enjoy this massive cutscene, which loses about a minute on English and huge text,
Yeah.
and just to
That
get a
is
fairy.
really
So
bad.
it's
Now the
very
question
interesting to
is,
see.
how will Phio perform the Horde fight without a fairy?
again, yeah, that is
Right.
very difficult. It's not impossible to beat the horde fight with that fairy, but it is still very difficult.
Yeah, you're only allowed to get hit a total of 4 times.
Without
Well,
the fairy,
no,
yeah.
you're only allowed to get hit 3 times. If you get hit a 4th time, you're game over.
Pretty much, yeah. So there is not much, and it's very easy to get hit. You just
Alright,
move
here comes
a bit.
Horde skip the 3rd,
Third time, yeah.
4th,
And he gets it.
and he
Nice.
actually got it now.
But he loses
now
health,
he's
so
gonna be careful though.
he can only afford
he
one more
only
hit.
can take 1 more hit.
If he takes 2, he's back to the start, and that would be really disastrous.
Yeah.
Okay. So now he's back here. He has
Oh,
to be
boy.
he has to be very careful, especially with his stamina, because that's what killed him the first time.
Yeah. Those archers in the end are really difficult to avoid. Like, they're really sniping you.
I don't know why you go. Yeah.
He got 1 heart damage. He got 1 damage there though. But if he does not die in this last phase right now, then he is done with the horde fight.
Yeah.
Meaning, if he dies then, if he dies
dies
after
now,
the
that'd be
horde,
so
he
unfortunate.
only gets reset to the Girahim 3 fight.
Okay, come on.
Okay, this is looking good. He's gonna take this extra save.
I think anyone would in this situation, I
Yeah,
would definitely
definitely.
take very safe. Okay, he's done it.
Okay, Fire just got it. Whew!
Okay, so now he's
This
Now
is
he's
just,
moderately
this
safe.
is bad for Indy. Now
is really
though,
bad for Indy,
because Indy is like the whole horde fight behind Fire now.
pretty much it. And I don't think Indy has a shield, so that's gonna also at this point it's gonna be quite it's not gonna be bad, but just having the shield at this point would definitely help.
Fire now has a huge lead again over Indy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is hard for Indy now to make a comeback again. Of course, Fire could just die a few times to Girahim 3, to Demise Doll. I don't want to jinx it right now though, so I think I'm just gonna shut up. Boy, this is yeah, that was really intense there. But yeah, we get to see Girahim 3 in all its glory. Indy getting forward skip once again, not.
Yeah. Flora, please do your wretched brat thing, please.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely ready.
Yeah, we've got to do that, yeah. Okay, again.
The thing is, my voice is ready as well.
Okay, go for it.
You wretched brat.
2 out of 10.
Can't
Amazing.
do it as good as Indy can do it though.
Yeah, I think it's like you or India just. I'm not even gonna attempt to do it. My voice doesn't work that way. But anyway, yeah. So if Fire having a little bit of trouble at this point, we have to do his backflip shots again. He doesn't. He doesn't have a fairy, so if he dies, I don't think this is very good for him.
Okay, you got it though.
Okay.
That was
good.
Girahim 3.
Okay, so
So now he's only got the Demise.
this is the final demise fight. I'm just gonna let this speak for himself. I don't know if Flir's gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna be quiet during this. So hopefully you enjoy this amazing fight. In my opinion, this is probably the best fight in the game, but you'll be the judge of that. And Fire is very close to finishing.
Hopefully they won't forget to .done when they're actually done.
Yeah, please do .done. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is important. We only go after official SRL race time. They don't done on SRL, then yeah. Okay.
Okay, he dies.
Died to demise.
So this fight is very choreographed. If it's pretty much the exact same every time. So anyone who's really good at it can just do it, bang after bang after bang. But it's
a perfect demise fight was so satisfying.
If Phio misses this enough times, this could Indy could potentially take over if he's got an amazing round 3. But Phio would have to fail this at least 1 or 2 more times. So.
Yeah, a few times. I don't think he will.
Yeah, but you never know. Again, we'll see how this goes.
Alright, this is
good first
very
phase.
satisfying on Phio's end.
Second phase is a little bit harder, but
now it's good in the second phase. Shouldn't be any problems though.
yeah.
And GG to Phio.
GG, he finished. Please do .done. Yeah, he did.
Alright, he did .done.
Oh
Very good.
Okay, GG.
Mad dude.
So, there it is. Hello, yeah. GG.
GG.
That was so bad.
That got really close at the end.
How close was Indy?
In between he was ahead of you again, but he died to Horde as well.
Yeah. There was a time when I think at Horde,
Indy
was
actually
slightly
went
further
back
down.
to get a ferry when he lost his ferry. So I would say that is what gave you the advantage.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. I knew I just needed to get Horde skip to get past.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was really intense, actually. In
That was very intense. I think everyone was on the edge of their seat. And that
So
don't die now, you. Don't die to give him 3.
I didn't
Indy.
commit 7x04.
Yeah, that was
I think I was a little bit skeptical of that, but that was kind of
But usually,
not sure why I got it wrong.
usually I never shoot the gate to get the rupee, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
So my PV, I committed it by walking into and triggering in prison 2. So,
Yeah. So, you move on to round 3 essentially. How do you feel about that? Winning your first game?
Well, winning is good. I did not deserve to win. That was so bad. It started off really bad, but then, like,
Yeah.
from after Harp until in prison was really good.
no. There is no leeway because of English versus Japanese text. We did discuss it, but we did not come to a conclusion where everyone was satisfied with. So we decided
Yeah.
to not do any handicap for the lines.
Yeah, the bracket is actually updated, so Phio moves on to round 3, whilst indykenobi is now down in the losers bracket, so if he wants to have a chance to make it
And
back into the
GG
fight.
to Indy, finishing with a time
GG.
of 2:46.29. Damn.
GG. So again, if Indy wants to have any hope in hell of making it to the finals, he's gonna have to claw his way through 5 games and win all of them. It's gonna be a good tournament, I must say.
That was well, for the first race of this tournament, this was very intense, and actually I can't wait to see more of these matches.
Exactly. I believe we've got Deesh versus 64-bit Link, 9th of February, 5 PM UTC. So if you enjoyed more of this, then you can check that out.
Yeah, definitely, and
Definitely. And
yeah,
don't forget, we will have Floa
try to
258
get all
against
those
Dr.
races
Sensei
being
Hugo.
streamed here on ZSR.
I'm looking forward to that Hugo Floa matchup.
No, everyone is, yeah.
Don't remind me.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know if Tress wants to say any last words still.
I don't know. I'm assuming I don't know how long we'll be here for actually, because I don't know if any restreamers are. Yeah, okay, I did just at Cubs rule about it, so we'll see if anyone picks up. I guess. Yeah. I guess
I don't know.
on our part, we probably should have mentioned this a bit early, but yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well, we do get to discuss this a bit. I don't know if indykenobi will go into the
Sure, you
Yeah.
can join us, Indy.
Yeah, he might join, he might not. So yeah. Yeah.
How are you now feeling now that you know how close Indy actually was?
Honestly, I thought as soon as I pulled up the window
Hello?
with
GG, hello.
GG.
Thank you.
as soon
GG
as I,
file.
GG Indy. As soon as
Yeah.
I pulled up the window again that had the SRC and I was typing in .done, I was surprised that I didn't see he already finished. Because oh.
No,
Well,
you,
apparently, if I hadn't died on the horde, I had a chance.
Yeah,
there was a
definitely.
point where you were quicker.
You were actually slightly ahead.
GG, hello.
But I think the thing that actually make the difference here is that you went to go get the ferry for the horde again.
Yeah.
You went back
on English.
got the ferry.
I totally forgot that there'd be the Song of the Hero cutscene.
Yeah.
But I clearly needed the ferry because I used it.
There was a
I think.
where you were.
Yeah. Horde without a ferry is very hard.
Unless you get horde skip like me.
I think the
On
thing
the
that
second try.
actually make the difference here is
I did not get
to
horde skip
go get
both
the
times.
ferry.
And both times I was like right on the fence and it just pushed me
Got the ferry.
over. What bothered me most was that the moblins didn't die to the bombs. It's like, come on, you're supposed to die to the bombs if I miss horde skip.
But I almost made it out of horde without dying.
Yeah.
But I ran out of stamina
Horde
right in
without a
front of the
ferry
archers.
is very hard.
And so they killed
Oof.
me.
Yeah, that's not a good place.
So, Indy, you are now basically bumped down to the losers bracket, and if you want to get into the finals, you're going to have to win 5 games in a row. Just to let you know.
Cistern Second's gonna make it.
that was a very interesting round actually. I think that was like basically that was like the any percent round from 8 months ago or so.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, Cistern Second has never been the true any percent route because it really only makes sense on the English version where you can use Cistern Clip.
Yeah.
But it was a route I developed about a month after RBM was first found. And the big benefit of it at the time is that it skipped a second trip to Skyview Temple to get the Sacred One. Clearly, Water Basin Skip came along and made that kind of obsolete. But I think it's a fun route because it only actually has one Farron RBM in it for the Song of the Hero skip. And it's it has a lot of cool like non-RBM tricks in it. Like it does both versions of early Floria. It does the fast scrapper strats, does some other stuff too, and bomb bag skip is just cool.
Yeah.
Were there any like routing problems you ran into since you're doing like you were winging some parts?
So I've been trying to update the Cistern Second route to use some of the more recent tech, like use Water Basin Skip, use the reverse bit warp into Cistern, use the Ballad of the Goddess Skip, some of that stuff. And I was working on that Sunday and Monday. I only decided I was doing this tournament on Thursday, so I've been back in any percent for like 2 days now. This is my first any percent run since June, so I didn't really have time. Like I tried the route out last night, and there were some problems with it, so I didn't feel like I could do it during the race today. And so then I had to choose whether I wanted to try and sight read the standard route that I'd never done before, or do Cistern Second, the old version.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I decided Cistern Second was the least risky of all of those options.
I was actually thinking in between that there might be some that it kind of looks like you're not perfectly well in the route. I guess that's one of the things. If that was your first any percent route for half a year.
Well, I think the route went okay. When I started the run, I actually still hadn't decided what I was going to do. So I did sort of the setup for the standard route, which is a little more specific about how it sets its files up. And then when I got to Deep Woods and failed the extending blow, I decided to just go with the Cistern Second, which is why I had to rearrange some files there. But otherwise, I stuck pretty well to the Cistern Second route. And honestly, it was a pretty good run until I died in the Horde. I was close to PB pace.
Yeah, you were both. I think you were both pretty much. I think you were both pretty much close to pace.
I was a minute and a half ahead of my PB until I had noticed I failed Song of the Hero skip.
No, yeah.
That is never a good feeling.
But at one point, I was like 3.5 minutes behind early.
Yeah.
The beginning of my run was so bad.
Okay, so that is pretty
So-
much it for this.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
pretty much it from the first race of the Skyward Sword tourney. If
Yeah.
you want to see the brackets, then type in -- bracket. And if you want to know, when the next races are, we all try to get them all restreamed here on ZSR, be it 1, 2, or 3. And if you're really interested in when the next races are, try to join the Skyward Sword Discord. We will probably have some messages there.
Yeah.
Whenever we know when a race will be.
Plus, it's just a nice place to hang out if you like Skyward Sword.
Yeah. So yeah, shout outs to ZSR for having us. I can't wait for more.
Same, yeah. Also, please watch Floha's Floha versus Hugo race. That is going to be absolutely sick.
I'll be commentating that one.
That is not scheduled yet, but it will be. And yeah, I did drop a spreadsheet in the chat, so if anyone wants to know when kind of the scheduled races are, you can check that, and that will be updated a lot, basically.
All right, see you guys soon.
See you guys.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
done, yeah.
Thanks for commenting.
Thanks for running.